Welcome to the Reins of Leadership, the podcast dedicated to helping you lead with presence and influence with trust. I'm your host, Merinda Smith, business leadership strategist, sharing actionable insights on mindset, EQ and energy uniquely illuminated by wisdom gained alongside my equine partners. Hello everyone and welcome back to Reins of Leadership. Right, this morning Dottie shared some valuable insights with me, and so it got me thinking that it's time to put it on my podcast and share it with you. So Dottie is a lovely but sometimes quite sensitive donkey. She's a mini donkey, and I was working with her to just move her around in the head collar, and there was nothing really hard about what I was asking her to do, but what she shared with me was really frantic panic. And it was then that I realised that my energy was completely at opposite from what I wanted from her, and she was mirroring that back to me. So my instructions were technically correct, yet she was tense and hesitant and resistant. And when I consciously became aware, I paused and then started to breathe and doing some deep breaths and just shifting my internal state down to the ground to just lower my energy as much as possible. I wanted it to be calm yet controlled. And you need to do that before your external communication will actually land effectively. So it's a real reminder of what we're diving into today. Today we're exploring the power of clear communication in leadership, but going beyond just the words we use. We'll look at how our energy, our body language, and our ability to truly listen are often more impactful than the most carefully developed sentence, drawing powerful parallels, as always, from how my beautiful equines respond instantly to inconsistency. And I say my equines, they're all equines. It's just that I'm drawing upon mine for example to give to you. So welcome to the Reins of Leadership, the podcast where we help you lead with presence and influence with trust. Let's dive in. Before we get properly stuck into the nuances of communication, I really want to quickly mention the Beyond Success program that I offer. If you often feel like your message isn't quite landing, or if you're struggling with misunderstandings despite trying to be clear, or if you want to build deeper connections and influence through more authentic presence, then this 3-month coaching journey and course is designed precisely for that. We work specifically on aligning your internal state, that is your mindset, your emotional intelligence and your energy, with your external communication for maximum impact. Find out more and enroll at merindasmith.podia.com/beyond. That's merindasmith.podia.com/beyond. I remember a specific situation early in my corporate leadership journey. My stomach absolutely churning beforehand. I had to give some difficult performance feedback to a usually reliable team member regarding some consistently missed deadlines and just poor work that was coming up. And I was dreading it. I'd never been taught any leadership skills. I'd just been thrown into the role of being a leader and was expected to just find my way. So I spent hours, developing what I considered to be the perfect words, building that feedback sandwich that I'd been taught, trying to get the balance just right, that supportive but clear. And I probably rehearsed it in my head 100 times. I was hoping that when the time came, I would be able to just reel it off. But when I actually sat down opposite them in that slightly stuffy meeting room, it all fell apart. Internally, I was a mess. My palms were sweaty. I could feel the tension gripping my shoulders, and my voice probably sounded a bit strained, even though I was trying to project, this calm authority. And the more I thought about those sweaty palms and, how I was reacting, the worse I got. Anyway, I was so laser focused on delivering this constructed script without messing up that I barely registered anything from the other person. And thinking back, there would have been many reactions that came from them, like the subtle crossing of their arms, the slight tightening of their mouth, the way they avoided direct eye contact. And I could go on with the sorts of things that I could have picked up on, yet I didn't. I wasn't truly there. I wasn't present. I wasn't listening to them or feeling into their energy. I was just performing my lines, fueled by my own anxiety and desperate to get to the end of the conversation. I just wanted to let him know what was going on. This was it, and this is what I needed from you, and both of us to get out of that room. Unsurprisingly, the message didn't land well at all. It created immediate defensiveness. Awkwardness hung in the air, and frankly, the underlying issue didn't improve. If anything, our working relationship felt more strained afterwards. My words, though well-meaning, were completely undermined by the tense, uncertain, and uncomfortable energy radiating from me. And I know that caused further problems with this relationship with this person. I don't know if that was the initial cause, but I can just recall this specific incident. So when I reflect on it later, I realised what was going on underneath. It was all about my nervousness. I wasn't just wanting to get the words right. My nervousness was fueled by limiting beliefs that had surfaced with a vengeance. Beliefs like, if I'm too direct, they won't like me or respect me anymore. So I had that going on. Good leaders don't create uncomfortable situations, and even that sneaky one, if I don't handle this properly or perfectly even, it proves I'm not really cut out for leadership, which I had consistently going through my head. I'd be put into leadership roles and I'd go, I don't know why I'm here, I'm a fraud. These beliefs were running the show, and they were creating all this anxiety and my bodily reactions and forcing me to be that rigid, overly controlling communication style that I was trying to stop. My non-verbal cues and anxious energy weren't just random. They were a direct broadcast of those deep-seated fears and limiting assumptions about conflict and my own capability. Contrast that internal turmoil and its external manifestations with trying to teach a young pony something new, like walking calmly into a trailer or a float. You can say, walk on, you can guide it towards the ramp all day long. But if your body is hesitant and if you're holding tension in the lead rope, anticipating resistance, and if your energy is projecting doubt, that pony is most likely going to plant its feet or try to back away. And then they're going to create extra tension and you're going to be fighting with them away from that float ramp. These ponies read the whole picture instantly. They know what's going on inside you. They can feel your energy and they react. Yet when you become aware of what's going on and you take a breath, you visualize success, you soften your posture and still give clear and yet gentle cues, you project that calm confidence. And suddenly that same pony might take a tentative step and then another towards going onto that float. And it's that magical click when your intention, energy, and minimal cues align perfectly. That's the power of congruent communication, something ponies demand and leaders can learn so much from. So how do we translate this wisdom from the ponies into more effective leadership communication back in the office or even on Zoom? It involves focusing on 3 key areas: congruence, clarity through energy, and active listening. So the first one I'm going to look at is that power of congruence, aligning our words, body, and energy, which is our emotional intelligence and our energy focus. Congruence means your verbal message and your non-verbal cues, your posture, your facial expressions, and your gestures are aligned with your underlying energy, and they're all saying the same thing. When I'm doing training or workshop, if I'm delivering a part about communication, there are times where I will demonstrate through showing my posture in, walking into the room. I'll go outside of the room, I'll walk in the door, and I'll get the whole room to watch me. And they walk in and they see this person walk in who's got slumped shoulders, and I'm mumbling my words and I'm dragging my feet, and I might say something like, "Hi, I'm Merinda Smith, I'm here to deliver communication training." And they're finding it hard to hear me, they don't trust me. Instantly they don't trust me because of the way that my body is being projected. And then I'll contrast it. I'll go, okay, I'm just doing that again. And I go back out and I contrast it, and I take a deep breath before I open the door, and I walk back in and I go, "Hi, I'm Merinda Smith. Awesome to be here," or whatever the situation may be. By demonstrating it in that way, they get it. They get the message of how the body language, the energy, and the words you say all align. And this is also what the ponies teach us. So people like ponies pick up on the mismatch, and they usually trust the non-verbal and energetic signals more. So high EQ involves the self-awareness to notice your own internal state and how it's showing up. And ponies instantly know if you're truly confident asking them to do something that may appear to be scary for them, or just saying the words while feeling hesitant. And they go, "She doesn't mean that." If you approach them in a tense or a rushed or uncertain way to do something like catch them, put their bridle on, a head collar on, or whatever, they're very likely to raise their head and to walk backwards if you were king, my pony, and he would want to avoid you. My feelings that I'm coming up to him in that rush manner transmits directly. Instantly, if I see him raise his head when I'm coming up, I drop my energy. And that is, he's amazing at giving me that cue. Humans are not so much. So an actionable tip for you is to do an internal check-in before any important conversations. How are you feeling about the message that you're delivering? Is your energy aligned with what you want to convey? Just take a few deep breaths to center yourself, and then consciously relax your shoulders. Adopt an open posture. You might want to stand up or sit down. Think about how you're placed, and aim for your internal state and external expression to match your intended message. The next point is energetic clarity. So that's about communicating intention beyond words. Sometimes the intention and energy behind your communication matter more than the specific words. Are you approaching a conversation with an energy of collaboration, curiosity, and support, or one of judgment, frustration, or haste? Your team feels this energetic signature. Shifting your mindset, "this is a problem" versus "this is an opportunity to learn," directly impacts the energy you project. Or just being curious rather than going and judging them for what they're saying or for what they've done. Become curious. "I'm curious to find out why you did this." And you actually might find out something really important or something you hadn't thought about. Thinking about my equines, if I'm wanting to ask my horse to move forward, a sharp, impatient energy, and I know this when I'm in the saddle and all my horses do this to me. If I ask them to move on, and it's often when I'm being instructed because the instructor goes, "Move on, do this," and I'm always in such a hurry to do exactly what that instructor wants me to do that I give them like a sharp tap in the ribs. And they run, they jump forward, and they're really anxious and in a hurried movement. Yet, if I do it in a calm, clear thought process where I think about moving into this balanced response with minimal physical cues, that intention is transmitted energetically. And the pony will move into whatever I want it to do beautifully in a balanced way, because the energy is being transmitted without any physical cues. It is amazing. So for you, the tip on this is to set your communication intention beforehand. Ask yourself before you enter the room or begin that conversation, what energy do I want to bring into this interaction? What feeling do I want the other person to leave with? Because they say that they remember the feelings of being with you, but not the words you say. Focus on creating that feeling within yourself first. Let's say it's calm, curiosity, confidence, or collaboration, any of those beautiful C words. And then let that energy subtly inform your presence and your tone for the conversation that follows. The last point, active listening and observation. And this is something I see over and over again, which is not done well. Communication is a two-way street. And so often leaders are focused on getting their message across that they forget to truly receive. So they're just doing one way, they're just getting the words out and they're not listening or stopping to receive the message that comes back at them. So active listening is about hearing the words, and it's also about paying attention to the tone, the pauses, and the body language and anything unspoken that could be emotions, those subtle signals. So this requires presence and having high emotional intelligence. And I'm saying EQ, it's about that awareness of you and what's going on for you and the impact you have on others. Enables you to interpret accurately and to respond effectively. So think about, if you're sitting across the room or across a computer from someone, stop and hear them. And hear them in a very quiet, meaningful way. And you will hear those words. You'll also be able to observe what emotions, what's coming out at them. And then from there, you can respond only when they've finished. When I look at my horses, I look around at good horse handlers, they are masters of observation because the horses can't communicate in a verbal sense like we humans do. We need to, as horse people, we need to watch the horse for cues. So whether it's the eyes, the head placement, the ears, what's happening with the tail, or muscle tension, how they're holding their body. And so all of these form feedback. Yet if we ignore them, we are misinterpreting what they're saying to us. And we've got missed opportunities to adjust our approach. So it is all feedback. All those signals are feedback for us to learn from. So for you, practice being fully present in your conversations. Put distractions away. Just maintain a gentle eye contact. And listen not just to what is being said, but how it's being said. Notice any shifts in body language or tone, and ask clarifying questions. I love asking questions. If I can't think of anything to respond, ask a question. Can you tell me more about that? Or how are you feeling about this? That's really interesting. Thank you. Could you explain some more about that? And often what you first hear is only the surface level problem, and when you ask a further clarifying question, you're getting down deeper into the root cause. Reflect back what you think you heard. So if I understand correctly, you're feeling, or from what I'm hearing, you are saying you are blah. And this ensures understanding and shows that you're truly listening, just like you're watching the ponies and you're watching their reaction to any cues. Right, let's bring this together. If you remember nothing else from our chat today about communication secrets, hold on to these 3 things. Strive for congruence. Ensure your words, your body language, and your internal energy are all aligned. People trust the non-verbal and energetic cues most. Lead with energetic clarity. Your intention and the energy you project often speak louder than your words. Set your energetic intention consciously before communicating. And the third one is to practice active listening and observation. Tune into the subtle signals, the tone, the body language, the unspoken feelings, just as you'd watch a pony's reaction. True understanding comes from receiving as much as transmitting your message. Communication and mastering the art of it isn't just about eloquent speeches, it's about presence, awareness, and ensuring your entire being supports your message. That's how you build genuine connection and influence. If you're keen to dive deeper into developing this kind of aligned presence and influential communication style, the Beyond Success program is designed to help you do just that. Visit merindasmith.podia.com/beyond to learn more. And of course, if you found value today, please hit that subscribe button or follow in your podcast app, because it really helps others to find the Reins of Leadership. Leaving a review would be absolutely brilliant too. Connect with me on Instagram. I am Merinda Smith. I always love hearing your thoughts and takeaways. Thank you for tuning in to the Reins of Leadership with me, Merinda Smith. Until next time, keep a steady hand on the reins and enjoy your leadership journey. Thanks for joining me on the Reins of Leadership. Remember to lead with presence and influence with trust. Subscribe for more insights and find resources at merindasmith.podia.com.